Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Susan Valakis, and I'm the Training Development Coordinator at NOW, and as such, I bring you these webinars on the third Thursday of each month. If you've missed any of them, you can find replays on our website, nowfoods.com/webinars, or on the NOW YouTube channel. If you have any questions during the presentation today, just use the chat bubble on your screen to submit your question, and then we will respond to you with an answer by email. For today's presentation, we welcome Kristen McPhee from the NOW Nutritional Sciences Department for her presentation on detox support. With her background in therapeutic herbalism, as well as clinical herbalism and nutrition from the Maryland University of Integrative Health, Kristen is certainly well equipped to speak on today's subject. Kristen has authored several articles with Natural Products Insider and others, and has also served as a research review editor on authoritative botanical reference materials for both the American Botanical Council as well as the American Herbal Products Association. And in her role as a nutritionist on our team at NOW, she also writes and reviews label text and marketing materials for regulatory compliance, participates in the development of new products, and brings much knowledge and experience on the regulation of dietary supplements to our science team. The presentation today on detox support will last about 50 minutes long, and I know that Kristen has some excellent information to share with us. So please join me in welcoming Kristen McPhee.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I am one of the newest members to the nutritional science team. I'm a nutritionist, and a lot of my roles are involving ingredient evaluations and reviewing the science that go into new product development and creating labels for our products and things like that. So, and I've been asked to present on two product categories in our wholesale catalog, detox support, and then green foods and whole foods. Uh-oh. There it goes. Okay. So I thought first it would be helpful to do a high-level overview of the concept of detox, because we can promote and sell our products best if we understand sort of why they're important and why we need them and what roles they play. So our bodies continuously detox toxic substances by converting them into chemical compounds. When they're converted into compounds, they are less harmful, but we also need to eliminate them from our bodies. So our bodies have kind of this innate built-in mechanisms in order to detox on a 24-hour basis for our whole lifespan. And we are exposed to toxins. It's just part of living. It's mostly through ingestion, inhalation, and absorption through our skin. And then probably most of you are aware, but I listed some of the main sources of toxins that we're exposed to. A lot of it's environmental, but we can also be exposed to toxins just through our body producing free radicals as part of living as well. So there's that. And then I thought it would be helpful if we looked at what content our company puts out on our website for this topic, and to just see if what the research says is aligned with what we put on our website, and so that we're using sort of similar language when we talk to people that is also on our website. So this is what you would find if you did a search for the detox support product categories. It's sort of an introduction to those products. And basically, the content is confirming our lifelong exposure and that our body to toxins, and that our body has natural detoxification mechanisms. The content also emphasizes that the liver is the primary detoxification organ, and that we have detoxification mechanisms that rely on certain nutrients from a healthy diet. So we need to eat well in order to optimize our own body's ability to detoxify. And then, so if our bodies naturally detoxify on their own, I think one of the first questions people would ask is, then why would we support our body in its own detoxification abilities? And I think part of the reason is that we're just, with modern living, we're at an increased exposure to toxins. An earlier slide said that the average human carries about 700 toxins at one time. And so it's just part of our modern living, and that part of that, for many of us, these are obviously generalizations, but that we may have increases in our stress levels, not as nutrient dense of a diet as we could have, struggling to find time to be physically active, not getting enough good quality sleep. It could be temporary, where say you moved into a building and the building materials had exposed you to toxins or something like that. GI issues, since that's a primary elimination pathway, could prevent optimal detox from happening. And then there's always genetic predispositions. And then I think people's motivation for wanting to do a detox protocol or regimen are kind of person specific, but I would say that people just want to have, feel healthy, have clarity, be a healthy weight, have good energy and things like that. So those are the reasons I had come up with. And here's something else that we could find on NOW's website, just some additional content that we've provided and put out there. This is one of our ambassadors, and she it's a really nice overview of kind of outlining what this involves to do healthy detoxification. And so she talks about how our bodies already naturally detox, but to do a detox program, they're generally you're setting an intention for about 14 to 30 days to kind of bolster your body's abilities and to focus on doing this. And first you would want to remove the exposure to toxins. So identify what those sources could be, and removing those sources. And then you'd want to eat a healthy diet. Some people do an elimination diet, or they're identifying possible food sensitivities or irritants in that way, reducing sugar, reducing alcohol. And then you'd be increasing hydration of good quality water to help flush out any toxins, getting good quality sleep, and doing gentle movement, but not really rigorous, strenuous exercise. And then, of course, supplements has a role too. And there's a lot of supplements to choose from. She highlighted 3, 2 of which we'll talk about today. And so that's kind of a nice, I like that article. I think it's really well done and provides a good, holistic perspective of the topic. And then this is a very clouded image of a lot is happening in here, but you've probably come across a picture like this at some point in time in a biology class, maybe. But it's highlighting the liver's detoxification pathways. I thought it would be good to look at, just because the liver is the primary organ involved in detox. And so we don't have to understand every aspect of it, but just for the sake of this presentation, I think it's good to know that there is phase 1 and phase 2 liver detoxification. We need both phases to work optimally. A number of reactions occur during phase 1 and phase 2, and all of those reactions they use certain nutrients. And a lot of those nutrients are amino acids from dietary protein, could be meat protein or vegetarian protein, and then some B vitamins as well. And then just know that when the body's going from phase 1 to phase 2 detoxification, part of it, what happens is reactive oxygen intermediates are produced. And so it's really important that we have antioxidants from plants, from our phytonutrients in plants from our diet, to kind of help mitigate that a bit. And then on the right, you'll just see that, as a reminder, I think we know this, but that we omit toxins through our gastrointestinal system, through our bile, and then, out our stool, and then also through our kidneys and urine, and then we sweat some of it out too, but those are the primary pathways. Okay, so now we're getting into the first product category, and there are 13 products, and some of them are grouped together. They're similar products with just different amount of capsules, or they're powder versus capsules. So it's a fair amount of products to introduce, but it's not too terribly bad. Okay, so the first one is it says Silymarin right on the label in big bold font, but this is a milk thistle extract that is standardized to 80% Silymarin. And Silymarin is the primary compound that has been studied to support, the claims that we've put on our label, support liver function and promote glutathione production. And glutathione is involved in both phase 1 and phase 2 liver detox. So I think that's why we see it mentioned so much in tandem with liver support and detoxification support, because it's not just one or the other, it's actually both phases. And then milk thistle, I thought would be a good product to introduce first because it's the most widely researched hepatoprotective or liver protective herb. And so it's used in a lot of our other products, so you'll see it mentioned again. And I think this is interesting. I am an herbalist and enjoy plants, and so I think this is interesting to just know of, is that milk thistle is related to artichoke, which probably feels a little more familiar to most than milk thistle does. And you can kind of see that they're related just because their flowers look similar. They're in the same family, the Asteraceae family, which is a huge family. Think of about 32,000 plants. But so you can see that they're like siblings or cousins, or at least. And if you wanted to boost or have more Silymarin in your diet, you could eat artichoke and get some Silymarin that way too. So thinking of eating healthy to complement a detox protocol, you could integrate artichoke into your diet. And let's see. So if, historically and still today, I think people do just have milk thistle. They used to eat it similar to artichoke, but that's not very common nowadays. So why would we provide it as a supplement to people? And part of the reason is that to get the same amount of Silymarin in crude milk thistle, like just in powdered form, you'd have to consume about 12 to 15 grams, and that's daily on a consistent basis for you to notice a benefit. And most people aren't going to comply with that. And so you can either consume 15 grams of crude milk thistle, or you can take one soft gel, and it's just easier that way and to have a therapeutic effect. Oftentimes we like to at least touch on some of the possible mechanisms for why a botanical or nutrient does what it does in the body. And so one of the mechanisms of silymarin is that it prevents toxins from being able to penetrate the liver cells or hepatocytes by altering the cell membrane, and it also stimulates the production of new liver cells. Okay, next product is Liver Refresh, and this one's a little bit different in that it's a formulated product that has 13 nutrients and botanicals. So we created a formula as opposed to a single ingredient. But the primary ingredient in this product is milk thistle standardized extract. So, and then we can assume that the rest are complementary to what the intention of that ingredient is. Oh, and we have two products of this, but the only difference is that one's 90 caps, the other's 180. So I highlighted milk thistle extract. That's the primary ingredient. It's the highest dose in this product. And the second dose is, highest dose of an ingredient is glutathione. And so we mentioned glutathione before. We know it's involved in both phase 1 and phase 2 liver detox. It's also an endogenous or something that our body makes. It's an antioxidant, and it can become challenged or reduced if we're exposed to a high amount of toxins, or if we're under long-term stress, or we have just a poor diet. So we might have low levels of glutathione in our body. Things that help kind of bolster glutathione are, you'll hear this a lot in the presentation, but sulfur-containing foods such as cruciferous vegetables like Brussels sprouts, alliums like onions and garlic, and then protein of all kinds. Also silymarin in milk thistle and curcumin in turmeric help improve glutathione. So those are ways that you can, look at what foods to eat while you're using a supplement like this in a detox protocol. I think that's all I've got for that slide. Okay, this one is interesting to me because I'm not that familiar with organ meats. I don't have a lot of experience with them, but I do remember my grandpa ordering liver and onions when I was a kid at a restaurant. And I spent some time in Zambia, and as the honorary guest, I had to eat, or I got to eat fish brain. So that's about the extent of my experience with organ meats. But I do know that traditionally organ meats were consumed, and that they often offer a lot of nutrients. And also, you're utilizing more of the animal this way too. So we have two products. Liver Caps has milk thistle and eleuthero in it, as well as beef liver, whereas liver powder is just beef liver, nothing else. And the powder is the only product in our detox support category that is classified as a food. So there's really not many claims on it. It says superfood on the front of the label, but other than that, we don't make any claims about it, in part because it's categorized as a food. And then beef liver as an actual organ or something that you would order at and have for a meal is a concentrated source of nutrients. But I think there's challenges with that. Some people probably don't want to eat organ meats. And then they can also carry chemicals and pollutants. You'd have to be careful to get a really good quality source. And I would imagine it being harder to find. Beef liver is also very high in vitamin A. 8 ounces has 100,000 IUs, so you can't consume it on a even probably semi-consistent basis because of its vitamin A. And this I thought was helpful to know that in traditional Chinese medicine, the flavor is described as neutral and sweet, which makes me think it's actually pretty mild tasting. For this one, for liver caps, as I said, there's milk thistle and eleuthero. Eleuthero is also called Siberian ginseng. They've both been used traditionally in Europe and Asia to support the liver. The doses in this product are rather low, like 1 gram of beef liver powder. Eleuthero root would be considered an adaptogen if it was in higher levels, so it would help your body adapt to stress, but this is a much lower dose, and the intent is really to support liver function here with the ingredient, not to go that direction. And then milk thistle is in here again, like many of our products, but it's at a much lower dose, 100 milligrams versus 300 milligrams in liver refresh. And liver powder, it has a nutrition facts label since it is a food. It's a good source of protein and some of the B vitamins. We need protein and B vitamins to support liver detoxification. The vitamin A seems to have been removed, so even though it's naturally occurring in like an organ meat, it's not here because it's such high amounts. And then the suggested usage just says you could add it to tomato or vegetable juice. So I would think with it being rather mild tasting, you wouldn't even really notice it in that way. You're having 1 tablespoon. This is a picture of parsley on the right. That's one of the ingredients in this product, but Kidney Cleanse is getting a little bit more specific and shifting to a different organ in the body that is also involved in detoxification, the kidneys, and the urinary tract, which are tied to the kidneys. So that's helpful because some toxins, such as heavy metals, are excreted through this pathway. So if a person wanted support specific to the kidneys and urinary tract, or wanted to focus on reducing their levels of heavy metals, this could be a good fit. It is only comprised of botanical ingredients. There's 7 in the formula, no nutrients. And the primary ingredient is uva ursi. And I don't think I said this, but when I look at a formula, I look at what the primary ingredient is and sometimes the secondary ingredient first. So looking at what ingredient has the highest dose in the formula, because I can guess, or most times that means the primary ingredient was used to substantiate the claims on the label. And then you can kind of skim over the other ingredients. And if you know a little bit about some of them, and you pick up things here and there over time, you'll be able to recognize that they're complementing what the intended use of the primary and maybe secondary ingredient or ingredients are. So that's why and also it's just too much to talk about every single ingredient in a product. So uva ursi, the main thing about that botanical is that it has a phenolic glycoside called arbutin that supports urinary tract health. The botanical is mildly astringent, and it needs alkaline urine and adequate hydration. So if you're taking this supplement, you'd want to make sure the person is drinking lots of water. And the interesting thing that I found was that because it needs uva ursi likes alkaline urine, you would not take this with cranberry juice, which some people take cranberry for urinary tract support as well, but they would actually work against each other. So, and that's because cranberry juice is considered to be more acidic. Okay, so this is, I've heard a rumor that this product may be discontinued, but it's not 100% certain yet. So just so you know, it could be phased out. But activated charcoal is from porous coconut shells. That's why the image is in the background there. And because they're so porous, they're able to attract toxins and remove them from the GI tract. That kind of effect is often referred to as something acting as a binder, because it can attract and then bind to the toxin and make sure that it gets out of the body instead of having it be reabsorbed or recirculated. This product can be used as a standalone, just use activated charcoal for its benefit, but it also is a good complement to other detox support products. Many of the ones that we've already talked about, but some that I'll talk about later, any of them that help focus on mobilizing or pushing out toxins, say from the liver, or mobilizing things, getting it to the GI tract, then this would ensure that it's going to bind those toxins and get them out of the body. So this can be used as part of like the 14 to 30 day standard, duration for an intentional detox support regimen, or you can use it for like occasional gas and bloating. The claims are substantiated for that as well. So say you go out to a football game and you have like a big basket of fried onion rings, or you accidentally eat gluten and you have a gluten sensitivity, or something that's going to wreak havoc and upset your stomach later on. You can use it in that way too. The only thing to be mindful is that it's not the most discerning ingredient. So like if you do use it for support in those ways, you want to make sure that you're taking it away from your meals, any medications and additional supplements, because it can impair absorption of nutrients, and then you can have issues, especially if you're using it on a semi-consistent basis. But it's really not intended for long-term use. It's mentioned in our caution statement. These two products are also would be considered a binder similar to the activated charcoal. The research behind it is a little more specific to helping bind to heavy metals than just all or any toxins. And it's the modified citrus pectin comes from the inner white pulp of citrus fruit peels. And we have two product options. One's in capsule and the other is in a powder form. And the thing that I found interesting about this product is that it has the ability to remove heavy metals without binding to the essential trace minerals. And sometimes when people are focused on lowering levels of metals, and they start to remove them from the body, certain metals will bind to certain minerals or micronutrients, and then you can over time develop a deficiency in those micronutrients. And I think it's because certain nutrients are very molecularly similar to certain metals, and so they can be bound together when they're eliminated. But this product has the ability to remove the metals without removing your nutrients in your body. And it has some good clinical research as well to support its effects. So I thought I'd just highlight one. This was a study done in healthy participants with a normal, that's quote unquote normal body load of metals. and they were administered 15 milligrams of modified citrus pectin for 5 days, and then 20 milligrams on the 6th day. So the study was less than a week long, and the researchers monitored what metals were being excreted through the participants' urine, and arsenic, after 24 hours, arsenic excretion increased by 130%, and then on day 6, cadmium increased by 150, and lead increased by 560%. So it's not a very long study, and also the dosage used, 15 milligrams, is also the amount recommended in our product. So we look at the clinical research and see what dosage was used to deliver a therapeutic effect, and then that helps determine how our labels are written and what dose is recommended. Okay, so now we're switching gears a little bit to detox support products that are based on sort of specific compounds. So you'll see more obscure, kind of unfamiliar names like indole 3-carbinol. It's not something we would say in a day-to-day sentence, at least most of us. But this is a sulfur-containing compound. We talked about sulfur-containing cruciferous vegetables and alliums. There's a picture of a cabbage because that contains indole 3-carbinol. And so indole 3-carbinol converts to another compound called DIM, that's the abbreviation, in the stomach. So say we ingest a serving of broccoli, it breaks down and creates indole 3-carbinol, or we take indole 3-carbinol as a supplement. And then 60% of that in the stomach gets converted into DIM, and then this compound then gets distributed to, here it's showing 6 different organs in the body where it's needed. And DIM works to neutralize free radicals and promote detoxification. And there's an arrow over the liver organ on the far right of that picture because it's most of it gets distributed to the liver because that's where it's doing the most work and is the most needed. But we need an acidic stomach to be able to do the conversion. And I had calculated from this picture that about 36% of DIM goes into the liver, 17% goes to the kidneys, so that to aid in detoxification in that way. Or people could just take a supplement of DIM. And so this supplement is mainly used to support healthy hormone metabolism by supporting detoxification in the liver where hormone metabolism occurs. And that is likely because I hear a siren going by. I hope you guys can't hear it. It's because part of our environmental exposure may involve exposure to endocrine disrupting chemicals like BPA in plastics, parabens in personal care products. And if we have an increased exposure to those over a long time and we're not detoxing optimally for various reasons, then it can disrupt our natural hormones because they imitate the body's hormones and interfere with their signaling. So this would be a really appropriate supplement for people with concerns over having healthy hormone metabolism. And the reason for offering it to people as a supplement is in part because to achieve a biologically relevant amount of DIM, that would be considered 12 milligrams, which doesn't sound like a whole lot compared to the amount in this product, but you would have to consume 4.5 cups of cruciferous vegetables daily consistently, which is hard for most people to achieve. If you cook those vegetables, it can increase the amount of DIM available up to 6-fold. So then 12 milligrams, say you consume 4.5 cups of vegetables, it has 12 milligrams of DIM. You've cooked them and you've bolstered the amount of DIM available through enzymatic activity. You may have 72 milligrams of DIM in your diet. But this product in one capsule has 200 milligrams, plus a couple of complementary ingredients. So it's, I mean, diet is obviously foundational and very important, but this is a great supportive option for people. Okay. This is calcium D-glucarate, another fancy compound. I'll try my best to explain. But so we do have elements of this compound in our body. As humans, we produce what's called D-glucaric acid, and our diets also have glucaric acid if we're consuming certain fruits and vegetables that have them. Calcium D-glucarate is like the supplemental form of that. It's the calcium salt of D-glucaric acid. It's in apples. That's why I put these images up so we can like do an association. Okay, so it's available in, of course, cruciferous vegetables, oranges, apples, and grapefruit. But if we're not consuming enough of those, we might be deficient in this compound. It's metabolized in the stomach into 3 other compounds. It's the all those fancy words in the blue box. And it mainly acts, the importance of this is that how it works is that it inhibits an enzyme known as glucuronidase. And this enzyme deconjugates toxins for reabsorption into the body. And if we have calcium D-glucarate, it helps the body excrete those toxins instead of being reabsorbed. So that's how it supports detoxification. Okay. And this is the final one for this category. Right now it's called Easy Cleanse. I've heard that we may be renaming it, but keeping the product. And it sort of comes as a kit. It's a 15-day digestive cleansing program. It's developed to support the body's detoxification mechanisms. And because it comes as a kit, people don't have to think about options and all of that. It's just a simple way to support the liver and intestinal function in the detoxification of typical byproducts and waste materials from environmental exposure. Oftentimes too, people like to do a detox in the spring. I think that's why I chose that picture behind the product, is that spring is sort of a time for renewal. Everything's green, you're letting go, whereas in the winter we tend to like tack on a couple extra pounds. We want to hang on to things. It's not the best time to detox. So there's Easy Cleanse AM. So you obviously would take that part of this kit in the daytime. It's 2 capsules twice a day. The primary ingredient in it is dandelion. If you've ever tried to have a dandelion salad, or you can make pesto with dandelion and then blend it with other greens to kind of cut the bitterness, but dandelions are very bitter. So the bitterness helps support bile flow and stimulate digestion. And then the Easy Cleanse PM is 4 capsules at bedtime. And the first ingredient listed is an Ojibwa Native American herbal blend to support kind of gastrointestinal movement. We also offer it as a tea, the Ojibwa tea. And then the rest of the ingredients that follow, if you just kind of glance at the words like pectin, gum, aloe vera, a lot of those are used to support movement. They're very gentle, bulking fibers, and they kind of bind to toxins and help ensure that they move out the gastrointestinal system. Okay, so I can't see any of you, so if you want to like stretch your legs, I can't be offended. So go ahead and like take a breather if you need to. It's a lot of a long time to sit and a lot of information. This category has 21 products, but it will go faster than the first section because there's so many groupings. And this one's kind of fun too. It's a little bit lighter and less technical. And just to clarify, green foods and whole foods, we're talking mostly about like algae and let's see what else. Algae, kelp, and some grasses and sprouts and things like that. We're not talking about like kale and, you know, dietary green foods and whole foods. So the first one I thought I would start with is chlorophyll, because with the product category being green foods, like they're all going to have chlorophyll in them. So it's sort of like how I started with milk thistle. It's in, you know, the subsequent products. So there's 4 chlorophyll products. All use a form of chlorophyll called chlorophyllin, which is a sodium copper salt. And just general rule is that the greener the color of a plant, the greater the chlorophyll content. And chlorophyll helps to neutralize free radicals and support detoxification. So these can be used, these would be suitable to use to support any sort of detox protocol. This is the first of 4 chlorophyll products. It's formulated with alfalfa, which is considered a super green that we'll talk about at a later slide because it's a standalone product. And super greens mainly that it offers a lot of nutrient density like vitamins, minerals, and chlorophyll without so much bulk. Like you can get chlorophyll in kale or collard greens, but you're probably consuming much more mass and having your body work to digest those foods, whereas super greens are, you know, you're just taking a smaller amount and getting a lot of nutrient density. We offer a liquid chlorophyll. Traditionally, chlorophyll was used as an internal deodorizer, so it would make sense that we would provide a product that helps freshen breath, kind of deodorize our breath and make it better. And then it's mint flavored, probably to taste more palatable, but also to complement that breath freshening ability. It promotes cleansing because chlorophyll is considered a cleansing green for its increased nutrient density with low mass, as opposed to more building greens that we have in our diet. You only have to take 1 teaspoon for this, so you get quite a lot of servings, 95 servings in this bottle. And here's a touching on mechanisms. Chlorophyllin may act as an interceptor molecule, which means it binds to toxins in the diet and inhibits their bioavailability and absorption by shuttling them out of the GI system. Sort of similar to what we've talked about with some of the other products. So we just talked about chlorophyll. There were 4 chlorophyll products. Now this is chlorella. And you can tell from the name that chlorella is very high in chlorophyll. We have 5 chlorella products, 3 are in tablet form, 2 are in powder. The powders are classified as a food, so they'll have nutrition facts labels with the nutrient contents and suggested uses to add to liquids or smoothies. These are the, oh, my slides got out of order. Let's see. These are, oh, This is the 2 powders that we offer, and so also on our website you can find that one of our ambassadors created a smoothie recipe. So as an idea of how to use this product. This is a microalgae. We have one other microalgae, which is spirulina, in our product line. It's more abundant in chlorophyll because, you know, it's implied through the name. And both spirulina and chlorella are sources of amino acids, chlorophyll, and vitamins and minerals. This one, the chlorella is a higher price point than the spirulina because it naturally has this tough outer cell wall that has to be removed in order to be digestible. So the processing, I think even the harvesting and processing of chlorella is just kind of laborious, and so that causes a higher price point. But it's still pretty reasonable, and you're getting more chlorophyll per serving than you are in spirulina, if that's the main goal. And then these are the dietary supplement versions of our chlorella that we offer. And here's their supplement facts labels. I don't have too much else to say about these. I mean, they're kind of the same. And then we have spirulina, which is the other microalgae. It's really hard to find pictures of chlorella and spirulina, I think, because they're like microscopic size. We have actually 8 spirulina products. 5 in capsule, 1 in tablet, and 2 in powder. Like chlorella, the caps and tablets are dietary supplements, and the powders are foods. And here's another smoothie recipe that combines spirulina and chlorella. I believe she called it salty green because if these are harvested from any kind of salt water, you know, they can be salty in flavor. And this one here is our newest product. I think it's the only new product in our catalog that I'm introducing. And it just has the highest 1,000 milligram dose, but 240 tablets. And so it's a larger bottle. And there it's just being highlighted. And so kelp, we have 3 kelp products, a tablet, capsule, and powder version. They're all supplements, all dietary supplements. And they all have the same health claim, supports healthy thyroid function. And it's because kelp is a naturally occurring iodine source, and iodine supports the thyroid. Other sources are iodized salt, fish, and seaweed, but it's quite common that people don't get enough iodine in their diet. And because this is just a natural, kelp is, you know, a natural source, it's people tend to think it's a gentler option for people who want to get supplemental iodine. And this is not a microalgae. They're large leafy greens, and it's a browner color algae. And let's see. And then the next one is alfalfa. We have 2 alfalfa products. Both are in tablets. Both are dietary supplements. And it looks like a clover to me, if you've ever seen like red or white or purple, I guess it's purple clover growing. It has similar flowers and leaves. So, and it's because they're related. They're all legume plants in the Fabaceae family. I thought it was interesting to learn that the alfalfa roots can grow to be 100 feet deep in the soil. So they're likely reaching to minerals that are not found at the surface. And it's used primarily as a supportive supplement for its nutrient content. It's called a super green because it has a good source of vitamins, minerals, and chlorophyll. And you can't consume just alfalfa sprouts. They're considered America's favorite sprout because they're considered to be more nutritionally dense than any other sprout. So you could have alfalfa sprouts. You can also consume them as a supplement. And then this is our final one. It's wheatgrass, which I grew up as a kid, like hearing about people taking wheatgrass shots and how weird that was, but now it's a little more normal. But so we just have one product of wheatgrass. It's a powder classified as a food, so that's why a smoothie recipe has been provided by one of our ambassadors. And this is a cereal grass, which you probably know since wheat is in the name. It does have chlorophyll. It's just less than the others we've talked about. And also important to know, I think that people with wheat allergies are almost never allergic to the plant when it's in this grass stage. It's not a mature plant. It's just this grass, like in the picture. And wheatgrass is a pretty good source of protein. It's about 20% protein, which is similar in proportion to animal meats, but it's a different amino acid profile. And it has 4 grams of fiber per serving. It's easy to digest, so it doesn't have that tough outer cell wall like chlorella does. It's made of mucopolysaccharides, so much easier to digest. There's trace amounts of many other nutrients like iron, potassium, and calcium. And you can also grow wheatgrass at home. There's some debate because conventional, wheatgrass that you would buy and have shipped in, I've heard that the companies try to make them grow slower so that the nutrient density is there because of the slow growth of the plant. It condenses the nutrients. But if you grew it at home, it's probably one, cheaper, but also you're cutting it and then using it right away. So you're getting more enzymes just by using a fresher plant. And that's all I have. So that's the end of my presentation.
Wow, good information. Thank you, Kristen, for a great presentation. You know, detoxification for some reason, along with digestive health, seems to be one of my most favorite subjects, and I just find it very, very fascinating. So I hope that our audience took away some great reminders about the various botanicals and nutrients that can help to safely, naturally, and effectively support the detoxification systems of our body and help flush away those toxins that, as you said, we encounter pretty much on a daily basis. So I know I learned a few things, and I hope you all did too. Remember, if you have any questions, you have another minute or so to just type them in your chat bubble, send them my way, and we will respond to you by email. Now, I want to remind you that this was our last webinar for 2022, so we will not be doing a webinar in December, but we will be back in January of 2023 already, my goodness. And of course, we'll have some great information to share with you, so be sure to watch your email for login details. So with that, thank you once again, Kristen, for an excellent presentation, and thank you everyone for joining us again. We really appreciate that you can be here with us for these presentations. We will see you next year, and until then, everyone have happy holidays from all of us at NOW Foods.